All right. My name is Katie Grubb. I'm going to be the cross-examiner, and I'm going to be cross-examining the detective.
My name is Olivier Clark, and I am the detective that is going to be cross-examined.
Detective Clark, you must be very knowledgeable in the case based off of how long you've worked on it, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
So, can you tell me all the different occupations that Frank supposedly identified himself as in chronological order?
First, he identified as a pilot. Secondly, he identified himself as a doctor, and he lastly identified himself as a lawyer before his capture.
Now, on the police report, how many fake identities were said at the beginning?
4.
So, why were there only 3 identified at the conclusion of the report?
The reason that teacher was listed in the beginning was because while he worked for Pan Am, he was a teacher and helped to train other pilots during his flights, and it was not included at the end because he was with Pan Am, therefore he used the same alias.
Oh, okay. I'm glad that we finally cleared that up. An important document to this case simply had a minor flaw. So, can you tell me, would you describe Frank as intelligent for his age, that he was difficult to catch?
Yes, he was intelligent, and catching him was a challenge.
So, if someone took so many precautions throughout these years, not using his own name, changing occupations, etc., why would he use his own biological name to cash his checks? Could it potentially be someone else he worked with at the airline?
He would use his own name because there is video surveillance of him in the banks cashing checks.
Oh, okay. So interesting. Detective, what seat did Frank ride in on these planes?
Well, considering he rode in the cockpit, he would either be riding in the pilot, co-pilot, or the jump seat, depending on his role during that flight.
And can you tell me how much does a jump seat cost?
Pilots do not pay for the jump seat.
So there is no price because they're not for sale. And if there's no specific dollar amount to the seat used, then he can't be charged, correct?
That is correct.
So Frank is accused later of practicing medicine while at the hospital. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Is there evidence that he did so? Documents, signatures, anything?
No, there are no specific documents with his signature of him signing off on performing care, but there would be signatures on the documents from when he accepted the chief resident's position.
So, if there's no signatures on him practicing, then how can you without a doubt confirm that he practiced medicine without a license?
As the chief resident, he is responsible for reviewing care administered by the residents and signing off on that care. And he would also be called upon occasionally to administer medical care himself or medical advice.
And speaking of licenses, there's a violation of license requirement for when Frank was practicing law. However, he did have a license since he passed the bar exam. Wouldn't this be a legally obtained license and therefore no violation is present?
No, this is not a legally obtained license because part of passing the bar exam is also the education requirement that goes along with it. Therefore, this is a violation.
Oh, okay. Well, can you tell me, there was a fingerprint found while in the courtroom, correct? And it was found to be Frank Malone's print. The fingerprint, though, only showed that he was in the courtroom, not what he was doing or even when he was in the courtroom. So can you tell me the exact time the fingerprint occurred?
Yes, there was a fingerprint found, but no, I cannot tell you when the fingerprint occurred.
There was also a report of tax evasion against Mr. Malone. However, the report is missing dates of when this occurred. Can you tell me when the tax evasion specifically occurred?
The tax evasion occurred between January 1st, 2018 and December 31st, 2018.
Oh, that's a pretty large gap. And to add on, you are a member of the FBI, correct? Federal Bureau of Investigation. And the IRS is also a federal establishment. So how did both establishments miss putting the specific time that the tax evasion occurred on the documents?
Yes, that is correct. I am a member of the FBI. The dates that were just given to you were provided to us by the IRS, which is a different branch of investigation.
Ah, okay, interesting. So on the arrest of Frank Malone, there are a few flaws. First, why was Frank not read his Miranda rights? That's the first step of a proper arrest and interrogation, and a veteran officer should be well aware of this.
I was not the arresting officer. I do not know.
Well, but for the arrest report, there are certain boxes of information that were left blank. More specifically, the time of arrest and vehicle description. A quick question: wasn't the vehicle description the reasonable cause for the traffic stop by the officer?
I was not the arresting officer, so therefore I did not complete the arrest report. The arrest report was completed by Officer Fiddler.
Okay, but wouldn't you agree that if the officer didn't have the vehicle description, then Frank would have never been pulled over or arrested? I mean, missing the component on an arrest report that led to the capture of Frank Malone seems to be an impactful and crucial mistake.
Again, I did not complete the arrest report, and you would have to refer to Officer Fiddler.
Okay, I have no further questions.